Welcome back to Access Houston on 97.9 The Box.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. Welcoming back to the program. It's been quite a while. She is the director of Philanthropy for the March of Dimes. Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely and vivacious Carmen Herrera is back on the program. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
We are getting close to that time of the year where... But we're not here to talk about the walk this year.
No.
We are here to talk about not yet.
Not yet.
Which the March of Dimes walk
is amazing.
One of my
It's
favorite.
one of the best walks in the entire country. It's one of the biggest walks in the country.
The biggest ones. The best. Yeah. It's so much fun. You guys have me out to MC and be at the start finish line after Kimbrell Marshall does his things, and I just have I always have fun doing the March of Dimes. And you
always do an amazing job. Thank you.
Well, thank you. But you all are putting together a lot of Houston leaders and influencers for the Unspoken Stories of Birth Equality.
Birth equity.
Birth equity, excuse me.
Yes,
birth equity. Mm-hmm. Tell us about the unspoken stories of birth equity and how did all of this come about, or how did this conversation get started?
Absolutely. So you may have heard in recent time, it's a big issue. There's an epidemic in our country, and very much so in our state, and very much so in our surroundings, the greater Houston market. Mm-hmm. Black women and babies are dying way too often because of just being pregnant and having a child, and the prematurity rate over the last, I would say, 5 to 6, 7 years is going in the wrong direction, which is up. You would think the most developed country in the world, it's more riskier to have a child in the United States than it is in a lot of the underdeveloped countries. So not only is the prematurity rate going up, but the mortality rate is also going up, and more so in women of color, specifically African American women, are dying at 3 to 4 times more than other women, or white women especially. So, and our babies have 130% chance of death if you're Black. So because of that, the National March of Dimes has taken birth equity on as an issue for us nationally. But I'm so proud that our Greater Houston Market March of Dimes has really made this a huge initiative right here in Houston. Right now, Harris County in some pockets, and I can name the zip codes, Sunnysides and the Fifth Wards and some of the areas, have as much of a 39% rate when it comes to maternal mortality.
So let's...
That's crazy.
Why? Yeah, that's wild. And why has there been such an increase of the numbers over the last 7 years? Is it something
we're
environmental?
Still trying. That's a good question.
Water? Why is the mortality rate, especially among women of color, which I find interesting?
And I'm glad you asked that. We're still out there trying to figure all that out. But for women of color, the reason why this is going, because at first, people say, "Oh, it's because you're, African Americans. You eat bad. It's genetic. It's just because you're, Black." We squash that. Our research has proven it is not genetic, but it is something when it comes to women of color and African American women. A lot of it is because some of us don't have quality or access to quality care. So that was the fifth word. You're right. Right. So a lot of women don't have the access to quality care, and if you're on Medicare, day 61, you are no longer insured. And what we find is a lot of maternal deaths happen far beyond, some of the complications that women have, far beyond 2 months after giving birth. And so that has a lot to do with. The second thing is implicit bias. It is systemic racism that we are dealing with. You may have heard of stories, one specifically, which he's going to be at our December event, Charles Johnson, Judge Hatchett, the TV judge. She lost her daughter-in-law, his wife, last year, 12 hours after giving birth, because what they feel is, Black women, for some reason, they feel that we can take more. So if I say I'm pregnant and I got this pain in the side, Carmen, they'll go, well, you know what? You're pregnant. As opposed to really, looking at this and figuring out what the problem
what
is.
the problem is. And they're not listening to the black women either because since we are African and descendants of Africans, which are the strongest and the best that the world has to offer, that the women can take more pain than their white counterparts, even when
so they don't give them
the
the
girl
medication.
is saying, I'm in pain, I need something,
Right.
and the doctors have this. And Carmen, I was blown away. Like, wait, you mean to tell me that medical doctors right now to this day still believe that black women or black people, period, especially black women, can take the pain more than their white counterparts just because they're black? No, we're all human.
Right. And most people say, well, okay, it's just because of social economics. No, there is an issue around, areas like certain wards that don't have, maybe people can't get to a quality care or whatever. But women like myself, educated, great job, great home life, great environment, healthy, are having these issues. So it's not about, how much money you make or what side of town. It is exactly what we're talking about. Black women are not being heard. And so I'm really proud that March of Dimes is actually coming out with an implicit bias training for the medical community. And we're already in talks with 2 major hospital systems right here in the greater Houston market that are looking to, take this training throughout their whole hospital system. So we're really excited about that. And we know it's not a comfortable conversation to have, but it's something that has to be had.
Well, listen here. Change is uncomfortable.
Exactly.
And in order for things to happen, people need to be uncomfortable. I think that's that's the problem now.
Absolutely. So, again, it's something that needs to be addressed because as a medical professional, whether you're the receptionist when you walk in the door or the surgeon back in the, back in the back, everyone, no matter the color of their skin, young, old, money, insurance or not, it should be blind. Everyone should be treated equally and given the same quality of care and attention across the board. But that is not happening.
No. They listen, they treat you totally different when you pull out that insurance card versus when you don't. And I've been on both sides. So, well,
you know what? Not even when you pull out the insurance card. Let me tell you what happened to one of our colleagues. She's an African-American woman, been working for the March of Dimes for 20 years. Great. We have the bomb insurance, March of Dimes. So we have great insurance. Her son broke his arm just this summer in summer camp. Little boy, 7 years old. That's what happens. They're in Pearland. They rush to emergency. She walks in with her son. The lady turns a sign around, says, "We don't take Medicare," before she even walks up to the counter. And my colleague was so offended. So they automatically assumed these are those biases that she's black, she's an emergency, and she's on Medicare. Right. And she point blank said, "We don't take Medicare," with the sign. And my colleague said, "Well, what makes you think I'm on Medicare?" I mean, but those are the things that we have to get rid of.
What a shame. You're listening to Access Houston, talking to Carmen Herrera, Director of Philanthropy for the March of Dimes. Unspoken Stories of Birth Equity Luncheon is happening. We've got a while. Wednesday, December the 4th. Oh, wow. That's my brother's birthday and Jay-Z's birthday. That's going to be, where's that going to be?
It's going to be at the River Oaks Country Club. So a really nice venue.
Fancy schmancy.
Yeah. We're at this event, we are bringing the community together, business leaders, philanthropic leaders, our government, everyone together to talk and hear about this epidemic. Leading up to that, we've been doing a lot of grassroots sessions. We've been going to people's homes, having these, fireside conversations, and it is really, making an impact, because when you can sit down and it's cozy and talk
and it's comfortable and uninterrupted.
People are just on fire. Yeah. So on December 4th at the luncheon will be kind of like, the big finale, not a finale, because this is going to continue until we move the needle on these numbers, but just a big event for us to come together as a community and talk about what can be done. And there's been a lot of people in the greater Houston market who have raised their hand to support this. We call them our champions. And I do want to say that, you know, there's various levels of engagement.
Oh, come on, Carmen. You're killing my questions for you.
Okay, go ahead.
You all in my head. No, continue, because that was exactly where I was going next. No,
There's
go
various
ahead.
levels, and if you want to get more of that information, you can go visit the website, which is March of Dimes /birth equity, or you can even email me at CHERRERA@marchofdimes.org. And the levels range very reasonable, from $250 to $50,000. So just depending on how much you want to be engaged. But we will say we want more champions. And what a champion means is you make a $500 commitment to the March of Dimes mission around birth equity, and that will get you 2 tickets to the luncheon. And if you can't make it, bless somebody else or just make a donation. It's one thing to talk about this,
Right.
but it's another thing to be about it. And the March of Dimes right now has a training that we launched in Fifth Ward at Legacy Clinic.
Nice.
And it's a group prenatal training that allows women who don't maybe have that access to quality care and insurance to come together as a group and, for 2 hours and spend time with a medical professional, getting those questions answered, learning how to be pregnant and what to do and what not to do and what to be looking for while you're pregnant. What we found with this training,
That's nice.
prematurity rate has gone down across the board 30%, and in Black women, 42%.
Oh, well, that's
so we
that's
plan
promising.
to plant these around our
Yeah.
greater market, and that's what coming to that luncheon will do. That money will stay here on the ground in the greater Houston market.
Well, I love to hear it. So people, I mean, you've got a while. You've got a while
We
to
got a
become
while, yes.
a birth equity champion. So log on to the site to do that, and also save the date right now, because this is going to be a big deal
It will
on
be.
Wednesday, December the 4th, for the Unspoken Stories of Birth Equity Luncheon presented by the March of Dimes. Going to be at the River Oaks Country Club. This is great. I didn't know that this was going on.
Yeah.
And
That's
I'm
why
glad
we're
that you're
here.
Yes.
And I truly
absolutely.
want to say thank you to the Radio 1 family entirely. We've been on several of your shows, and the general manager, Pam McKay, is just a big cheerleader for the March of Dimes.
Pam.
We love her, and we thank you all for just doing what you do to help us spread the word.
Well, that's why we're here. That's why we do this, because the community, they depend on us, and really that's why I use this platform.
And this is an issue that has to be dealt with.
Indeed.
We've
We've got so many. So
got
I'm glad
work
that
to
you
do.
all are tackling this.
Thank you.
Carmen Herrera, the director of Philanthropy for the March of Dimes. So good to see you, and thank you for coming on.
You too. And we'll see you soon.
Good Sunday morning. You're listening to Access Houston. I'm your host, KG Smooth. Welcoming in the studio, first timer to the show. She is an author, a beauty mogul, an entrepreneur, and her new book, UNCovergirl, Mirror Reflections of an Artist's Strength, Struggle, and Healing, is available right now. Ladies and gentlemen, King Curstin. Morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm well.
Good. So tell us about King Curstin. What part of Houston did you grow up in? Where you went to church? Give us a little background on you.
I am COO, God is my CEO, of King Curstin Beauty. I'm a hairstylist and a makeup artist. I've just started empowering coach, right? Empowerment coach. I try to help women heal through affirmative words, and not only look and feel beautiful, but become beautiful from the inside out. I am from Houston, Rosenberg, Texas, to be exact.
Okay.
I went to Nazareth Baptist Church growing up. Now I go to the God Encounter. Shout out to the God Encounter.
Yeah. So, what was it that made you want to get into being a motivational speaker and helping women with self-esteem and all that? Did something happen to you in your life that made you want to go that route and write your book?
Yeah, actually the book is, it reflects on my struggles. I talk about when I was 16 and pregnant, so teenage pregnancy, neglect, my mom, and my mom was in and out of jail. She was addicted to crack cocaine back in the day. My dad, he was in the military, so they weren't there how I would have wanted them to be there. I struggled with promiscuity, but I still overcame. So I oftentimes go live or post videos about my testimonies, and people see that, and so they reach out to me now asking for advice and, just try to give them hope, some sense of hope. So I talked to my coach about it, and she was like, this is one of your gifts, like, you should get paid for this. So let's do it.
Let's do it. That is so interesting, because oftentimes you hear a lot of a young lady whose parents aren't in the house, that much. And with that, they end up kind of raising themselves, know. And when you said that you used to be promiscuous, in my mind, I was like, well, maybe because your parents weren't there and you weren't getting that love and attention, you were seeking it from somewhere else. Right. And, a man that comes along tell you you're pretty, and then y'all end up, doing that. And that made you feel, wanted.
Right.
And that's when you were.
And I struggled with rejection, because they weren't there. And for me, it caused me not to really know how to love or be loved, because if my parents aren't there and they, they don't, in my head, perception, feel like they didn't love me. Who are you? So I struggle with that.
Yeah, that's
But God still put certain people in place, so my grandparents raised me. It was still a 2-parent home.
Yeah.
But they weren't.
But that is so real. Because I went through that myself. I mean, I grew up single parent household, but my grandparents, they were together, so saw that through them. But once my dad had found out, knew that me and my brother was his, like, because he wasn't claiming me, and then when he came around, like, he claimed my brother and then not me, and then eventually, like, it became that, and then that whole other side of that family wasn't as welcoming to me and my brother as we were to them. And so when he died and all of this stuff came down, and me always feeling as if I'm not good enough, or get looked over and all that. Like, once I psychoanalyzed everything, I realized that did come from my father and that side of the family, them not being so welcoming. So it was a subconscious thing, by
and
going through therapy.
And I forgot about mine too. Like, I tried to, I guess, suppress it or just block it out, but then I built up so much hate and anger, and I'm asking God, like, why do I feel like this? People calling me beautiful, but I don't see it or I don't feel it, And so that's when he told me to write. And so as I started writing, he started to reveal my past to me. And I'm like, whew, those emotions come rushing back. Like, that's why I'm dealing with this.
Mm-hmm. And you got, and that's good for you to be so self-aware and to want to know where it all began. Right. Because I say everything has a point of origin. When I was going through that myself, like when my dad died, and just like, them not being there, and me getting as far as I have in life, like not having that side, I was like, dang, like, why are all of these emotions and feelings coming down right now? Like, I ain't never needed them for anything, and I had to confront that. And because I was angry. Yeah. And when I did, of course,
the healing process.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yep. You're listening to Access Houston, talking to King Curstin. Her book, UNCovergirl, is out right now. So you are going on a book tour.
I am. We're planning it. We're planning it 2020. Hopefully we start, this year before it's over, but we're planning it.
Yeah. So let's talk about the book a little more. What is it that you hope when women, young girls, or men, whoever reads the book, what's your hope that they take away from it after they read your book?
No matter the obstacles that you're facing, like, don't let your circumstances or what you see dictate your future. Allow that to be motivation to go harder. Like, I feel like I had a point to prove, all the negative affirmations smoking over my life. You're not going to be nothing. You're only going to be good for having babies. You ain't going to graduate, and I beat the odds. Like, I graduated, I went back to school. I got married, had another child. And now I'm here, like I'm an author. I turned my pain into my purpose.
Mm-hmm. So what is your passion?
My passion is making women feel beautiful, look beautiful. I'm a hairstylist and a makeup artist by trade.
Right.
I've been doing hair since I was like 12. And actually my mom taught me, how to braid. And so I took off from there. But it'll be 5 years in a couple weeks, a cosmetologist.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice. And what did you discover about yourself during that process? Like when you were in cosmetology school, like what did you discover about you that you didn't know before, maybe? Either be it with your talent or your intellect.
I think I discovered that like my power, it's like a superpower.
Yeah.
Helping women. First you start off with the hair, but then you become their therapist, right. their diary,
Yeah.
Just on so many levels. And it allows me to I'm working on your head, but it allows me to get in your head, and still do what God has ordained me to do.
I love that. Access Houston is on with King Curstin, the book UNCovergirl. What made you? What was up with that title? What made you want to title it UNCovergirl? Mere reflections of an artist's strength, struggle, and healing.
So CoverGirl is a makeup line,
right? Easy breezy, beautiful.
Yes, CoverGirl. And so oftentimes we put on makeup to look beautiful, but people, like for example myself, you see this beautiful girl, you see all the makeup and you see the hair, but under it is a little girl who was still dealing with what the book will let you know what I'm dealing with. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So it was time to take the makeup off, like mask off, and reveal who I really am. So a quick testimony of my own. It was a Facebook post, and they would say, what do you think of when people see you, or what's the first thing that comes to mind when you see this person? And so they will always say, whenever I posted it, they would say beautiful. Oh my God, you're so beautiful, or your hair is always, or it's going to be different, your hair is going to be different, and we know where you're going to look beautiful. Everybody said beautiful, 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 but I didn't feel like this. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'm over here struggling with depression, anxiety, going to the doctor. Like, I just did not feel beautiful. Like, no matter how much makeup or the lashes that I put on, it was still something on the inside that didn't reflect. You understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, like I said, I had to pray, and I'm like, God, what is this? And he allowed me to start dealing with me, the inner me, So once I began to heal and deal with, these things that happened as a child, I had to, so he started to reveal what was really going on, the things that I tried to suppress. And so I had to, he showed me who I needed to forgive, so I had to forgive my mom and forgive my dad, then ultimately forgive myself so that the healing process
could. Is that the hardest thing?
Yeah, it could take place. And so now that I'm working on the inner me, and I started reading more books and, taking these classes and just start investing in me, in my mind, and he started to renew my mind. So now sitting here today, I can say, like, if you tell me what's one word that'll sum you up, I can say beautiful. And it has nothing to do with the physical aspect at all. The way I think is beautiful. My mind is beautiful. My heart is beautiful. Yeah. My talk, I'm beautiful in my speech, in my walk. It's nothing to do with the physical.
Yeah.
So,
and you saying that, Curstin, I was just thinking, I was like, what if, we're all just big balls of energy. We're just spiritual beings that are in this body.
Right.
On this planet that we are on. And as you were talking, I was thinking to myself, what if we could reveal what people look like on the inside? Take away all of the outer beauty. So, like, you can be the most beautiful woman on the outside, but what does that inner look like? You gonna be ugly, looking like Shrek and Fiona, or are you gonna be a beautiful queen or king. So
and that was me. Like whenever I opened my mouth, they would tell me at my old jobs, like, you're pretty, but once you open your mouth, ain't nobody gonna want to deal with you. You know. And now I see, like, yeah, I was a mess.
Wow. So what is it for you? What is it that you do now to reaffirm and to get back to you when you feel like you're losing it? To what is it that you do to get back to that center place?
My mirror is flooded with affirmations. Like, it is power in the tongue. Whatever you say, you shall see.
Do you write it on there with like one of those mirror markers or some lipstick, or you got Post-it notes everywhere?
I got Post-it notes everywhere. You know the little medicine cabinet? It's all colorful Post-its with I am. You know, I am enough.
Yeah.
I am beautiful. I am walking in my purpose. You know, things like that.
Okay, that's what's up. So you turn to your mirror to get back to you.
Everything that I'm feeling, every negative thing that I'm feeling, I say the opposite. You know,
and that works. The power of words are amazing, and your thought process, because everything really starts in the brain. It's all neurological as to how we may feel and even react.
Yeah,
and for you to be young and to have that down. That is beyond impressive, because it's some folks that I know in their 40s, damn 50s that don't, even got it together like that. So that's very commendable. The book is called UNCovergirl, Mirror Reflections of an Artist's Strength, Struggle, and Healing, available everywhere now. This is King Curstin, and she is on Access Houston. Pick up the book. Look forward to the book tour. So we're gonna have you come back on so you can talk about where you're gonna be around the city on this book. Not even the city, around the country on this book tour. Indeed. So thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No doubt. And thank you for listening to Access Houston. Listening to Access Houston. Listening to Access Houston. Listening to